You waited as long as you could, but now the fire's too close. The riots have reached your street, where the air has turned toxic. Your home, your fortress, is no longer safe. This is your worst-case scenario. You have no choice left. It's time to go. But here's the brutal truth. Bugging out unprepared can be just as deadly as staying behind. We'll show you exactly what to do when you have no other option, how to move smart, how to plan routes that actually work, and how to avoid the mistakes that get most people stranded, or worse. First things first, have a plan A, B, and yes, a plan C. Before you ever step out the door, you should know exactly where you're going. I'll head to the National Forest isn't good enough. You need a specific destination, or at least a short list of real options. This could be a relative's house in a safer area, a public evacuation shelter if it's a local disaster, or a campsite you've already scoped out, one that's defensible and near a water source. If you're lucky enough to have access to a remote cabin or a friend's farm, that's great. Just make sure it's within realistic reach. Because here's the truth, for most people, closer is better. A fallback location just a few dozen miles away? That's attainable. A fantasy bug-out spot 300 miles away? That might as well be the moon, especially if the roads are blocked or fuel is limited. A fellow prepper across town with a basement could save your life. But that empty piece of land 2 states over? It won't help you at all if you can't reach it. In prepping circles, there's a saying, a good local fallback beats a great faraway retreat. Once you've chosen your destination, the next step is knowing how to get there. And just as important, how to get there if your first route fails. Always map out your routes in advance, and not just one. Have multiple options ready to go, because when disaster hits, highways will likely be jammed or completely shut down. So don't rely on the main roads. Look at secondary routes, country roads, side streets, even utility paths or railroad tracks if necessary. Just be sure you're considering safety at every turn. Avoid predictable choke points, like major interchanges, tunnels, or bridges that everyone else will be heading toward. If you can, do a dry run. Drive your route in normal conditions. Take notes of hazards, narrow roads, detours, or other areas that might flood or get blocked. Then, visualize the same drive during a full-scale emergency. Heavy traffic, blocked exits, police checkpoints. Can you reroute quickly? You should have at least 1 or 2 solid backups. And here's something many forget. Bring paper maps. Keep a detailed map, or several, in your go bag. Mark your routes ahead of time. Highlight useful locations, rivers, lakes, small towns, gas stations. Because in a real emergency, your GPS might fail, or worse, lead you straight into a traffic jam or a dead end. When digital fails, you want to be ready to navigate old school, with confidence. Now that you've planned your route, let's talk about timing. Because when you leave can be just as critical as where you go. If you have early warning, like a hurricane or a slowly unfolding crisis, leave early if you're going to leave at all. The sooner you go, the less chance you'll get caught in mass panic, block roads, or dangerous crowds. Many seasoned preppers use preset triggers for bugging out. For example, if the wildfire jumps the river 5 miles from town, we leave. Or, if the power grid is down for 3 days and riots begin, we're gone. Know your triggers. Trust them, and when they hit, act immediately. Hesitation can be deadly, but don't bug out without good reason. Use your decision matrix. If staying put is still safer, do that. But when the decision is made to go all in. No second guessing, just move. If you're using a vehicle, prep it for crisis conditions. Keep the gas tank at least half full during high alert times. Ideally, keep it topped off. Stock the car with extra water, shelf-stable food, and a well-equipped first aid kit. And yes, keep a physical map in the car too. Just remember, vehicles have limitations. Roads may be blocked by debris, accidents, or abandoned cars. Fuel may be scarce. Some experienced preppers store extra fuel at home, treated with stabilizer. Others go further and cache supplies along their bug-out route. That might mean burying a sealed container halfway along the route with water, fuel, food, or ammo in a discreet but retrievable spot. This kind of caching is advanced. It takes planning and certainty that you can safely recover it. But in the right situation, it could save your life. But what if your vehicle dies? Or what if you don't have one at all? You need to be ready to move on foot or with alternate transportation. That starts with the basics. Make sure you've packed good footwear. If you're wearing dress shoes or sandals when it's time to go, you want to switch to something like hiking boots, fast. Some preppers plan using bicycles as a bug-out method. Bikes are faster than walking, don't require fuel, and can slip through traffic. But they limit how much you can carry, and they require halfway decent terrain. Either way, have a plan C for movement. If Route 1 is blocked and your car is out of the question, what's your next move? Maybe you cut across a utility trail on foot. Maybe you take a bike path, or depending on the geography, even a canoe. Be creative. One suburban prepper even planned to use a riding lawnmower with a trailer to quietly go off-road and bypass gridlock. Sounds extreme, but it illustrates the point. Think outside the box. The goal is to avoid the masses and keep moving. And as you move, stay sharp. Practice strict situational awareness. Pay attention to what's around you. Listen to radio news, if possible. Authorities may give updates on danger zones or aid locations. Watch how people behave. If you see something suspicious, like armed individuals stopping cars, don't wait to find out what they want. Detour immediately, even if that means going off-road or abandoning your vehicle. Trust your instincts. Your life is more important than your car or your original plan. And finally, pace yourself. Panic makes people sprint and then collapse. That's not the goal. Whether walking or driving, take regular breaks. If walking, rest every hour. Take longer breaks to eat, rehydrate, and check for blisters or sore spots. Because there's a rule every prepper should remember. Slow is smooth, and smooth is fast. In a real escape, the goal isn't speed, it's sustainability. And if you're with your family, kids, seniors, this becomes even more critical. They'll need time, patience, and steady leadership. And one more thing before we close this chapter. Have a communication plan. If you're bugging out with a group or family, clear communication can mean the difference between staying together or getting lost in the chaos. Two-way radios are great if you're traveling in multiple vehicles, or if you get separated. Just remember, radio chatter can be overheard, so keep it brief, or use simple code words that everyone understands. Even basic tools like whistles can help in wooded or low-visibility areas. One whistle blast, stop. Two blasts, regroup. Whatever method you choose, make sure everyone knows the rally point. For example, if we lose contact, we'll meet at location X, no matter what. Also, don't rely solely on your phone. Cell service may go down, and if your battery dies, so does your contact list. So, write down important addresses and phone numbers on paper. Keep that list in your bag, waterproofed if possible. And finally, remember this. Planning your bug-out route and destination is not something you want to figure out in the moment. In a real crisis, your heart will be pounding. Your mind will be racing. That's not the time to start guessing where to go. By doing the work now, by mapping your routes, preparing your gear, and understanding your terrain, you give yourself the greatest advantage of all: clarity under pressure. Because when it comes to bugging out, knowing your path is just as important as what you carry on your back. We've talked about gear, routes, and mindset. But there's one more prep that people often overlook, and it could make or break your chances of survival. Your physical condition. If you ever have to bug out, you won't be sitting in comfort. You'll be walking long distances, lifting, hauling, enduring physical stress most of us just aren't used to. So start now. Begin improving your functional strength and real-world stamina. This isn't about becoming a marathon runner or a bodybuilder. It's about building a body that can perform under pressure. Focus on cardio endurance. Can you hike for hours without collapsing? Train your legs and core. You'll need them to carry a pack and navigate rough ground. And don't forget flexibility. It helps prevent injuries in the field. Even simple habits like brisk walking and moderate weight training can transform your capabilities in just a few months. If you have access to parks or trails, start taking practice hikes with your loaded bug-out bag. Not only does this train your body, it also reveals flaws in your gear. Maybe that backpack starts to chafe after 2 hours. Better fix it now than discover the problem during a real evacuation. And don't skip injury prevention. Strengthen your ankles, work on balance, and learn how to lift properly. Always use your legs, not your back. You don't want to throw out your back trying to move debris or carry someone to safety. If you have existing health conditions, deal with them now. Need a better pair of glasses? Get them. Use an inhaler? Make sure you have backups and stash one in your go bag. Because no matter how good your gear is or how solid your plan, your body is what carries you through. Quick break here. If you're finding this video valuable and you want to keep sharpening your prepping skills, do me a favor and hit that like button. And hey, if you haven't already, subscribe and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any of the practical strategies and tips I share each week. Together, we'll stay prepared, informed, and ahead of whatever life throws our way. Alright, let's get back to the video. Building physical strength is critical, but raw fitness alone won't carry you through the wild. Because when things go bad, you won't have time to figure it out. Survival skills must be learned and practiced in advance. You will not magically know how to make a fire or purify water or build a shelter when a crisis hits. You have to learn now, while mistakes are still safe and not deadly. Start simple. Practice building a fire in wet conditions. Use a ferro rod, or challenge yourself to do it with just one match. Try purifying swamp water with your filter, or boil it over a fire you built yourself. Test your shelter setup. Set up your tent or tarp in your backyard, or the local woods. Sleep out and see how it holds up in the wind, cold, or rain. Work on your navigation skills. Take a compass and map and go from point A to point B on a small local trail. No GPS, just you, the map, and your brain. And if you think you ever might need to hunt or trap for food, get experience now. Go fishing on the weekend. Learn how to set a basic snare, or at the very least, start understanding animal behavior in your area. As one survival expert put it bluntly, if you've never hunted, trapped, or fished before, you cannot count on learning that while bugging out. It just doesn't work that way. The time to learn is now. And if you really want to take your skills to the next level, consider signing up for a class. Many outdoor schools across the U.S. offer short courses in wilderness survival, navigation, shelter building, or first aid. They're often hands-on, eye-opening, and can build real confidence. As one SEER instructor said, the best prepping you can do is learn skills. Because the more you know, the less you'll need to carry. Even a basic wilderness first aid course is worth it. You'll learn how to splint a fracture, treat hypothermia, or respond to a snake bite. And that knowledge, it can save a life, maybe even your own. Physical training is vital, but there's another part of conditioning that's just as important. Mental rehearsal. Sit down with your family or group and talk it through. Ask, what would we do if we had to leave in 15 minutes? Then test it. Run a drill. Can you grab your go bags and load the vehicle quickly? How long does it take? Where are the delays? This kind of stress inoculation makes the real thing far less overwhelming. If you've walked through it once, you'll be calmer, faster, and more organized when it counts. And on the flip side of getting in shape, know your limits. Be honest about what you can and cannot physically do. If you can't walk more than a few miles, don't plan a 100-mile foot journey through the mountains. Instead, plan smarter. Maybe you drive to a safe point and hunker down. Maybe you coordinate help from others. As one prepper wisely said, pack for the body you have, and not the one you wish you had. If you're older, disabled, or have mental health limitations, bugging out on foot may not be realistic. And that's okay. There's no shame in adapting. The key is to make your plan match your reality, not someone else's fantasy. So, to summarize, train now so you're ready later. Improving your fitness lowers your risk of injury and increases how far and fast you can move. Practicing survival skills reduces panic because your brain already has a script to follow. You've been there, done that, even if only in a drill. You do not want the first time you try to start a fire to be during freezing rain in a real emergency. You want to think, I've done something like this before. I've got this. And if you're tempted to say, I don't have time, or it's too hard, ask yourself this: what's harder, practicing now or being unprepared when everything is on the line? Start smart, be consistent, build capacity. It won't just improve your chances of survival, it will give you something just as powerful: confidence. The kind of quiet strength that keeps your mind clear when the world around you isn't. Now, let's talk about the most critical resource of all: water. In any survival situation, water is king. You can survive weeks without food, but only days without water. And truthfully, you'll feel the effects long before those days are up. When bugging out, securing safe water is often your biggest challenge, especially in dry regions or during summer heat. That's why your entire bug-out plan should revolve around water. First, carry as much as practically possible. If you're on foot, aim for at least 1 to 2 liters per person. If you're in a vehicle, bring more. Store extra gallons in your car kit if you can. That amount might only last a day or two of hiking. Doctors recommend around 2 liters per day in normal conditions, and more if you're sweating. So the reality is this: you'll need to refill, so plan for it. Identify natural water sources along your route: rivers, streams, lakes, even seasonal creeks. Mark them on your paper map, but never assume that clear water is clean water. Even if it looks pristine, it might be contaminated with agricultural runoff, industrial chemicals, or pathogens. Always filter or purify your water. Use a portable filter or boil it. Bring it to a rolling boil for 1 to 3 minutes to kill bacteria and parasites. Just remember, boiling doesn't remove chemicals, and it takes fuel and time. A smart tip: carry a metal cup or pot. You can boil water over a campfire if needed. Also, carry a collapsible water container, something like a 5-liter bag. It weighs almost nothing when empty, but lets you haul extra water when you find it. In desert environments, water is your limiting factor. Plan your travel from water source to water source. and move in the coolest parts of the day, early morning or evening, to conserve your hydration and avoid heat exhaustion. So, we've covered water. Now let's talk about food. While it's true that you can technically survive for weeks without eating, going even a couple days without food can weaken you fast. You'll think slower, you'll move slower, and you'll be more likely to make dangerous mistakes. So, while food ranks lower than water on the survival priority list, it's still too important to ignore. In your go bag, pack high-calorie, lightweight foods. Great options include energy bars, trail mix, jerky, peanut butter packs, dehydrated meals if you have a stove, and dried fruit. Focus on items that are ready to eat and don't require cooking, because you might not be able to start a fire. Also consider vitamin or electrolyte tablets. They help maintain nutrition and hydration, especially when you're sweating or not eating fresh food. And once you're out there, ration wisely. Don't eat a huge meal your first night and run out. But also, don't starve yourself when you need energy to move. Instead, eat small, regular snacks to keep your energy up and your metabolism steady. Now, what if you run out of food? Let's be honest, foraging isn't easy, and it's risky. If you're not 100% sure a plant is safe, don't eat it. One misidentified berry or mushroom can kill you. That said, it's worth learning a few common edible plants in your region, like leached acorns, pine inner bark, or wild greens. Just know, most wild foods require preparation and effort. Fishing is often more reliable if you're near water. A tiny fishing kit, hooks, line, maybe a few lures, takes up almost no space and could provide real protein. As for hunting or trapping, it's rarely practical during a short bug out. Stalking game takes time, calories, and skill. But if you're trained with snares or proficient with a firearm, and it's legal and ethical under the circumstances, it could supplement your food. Just remember, gunshots echo. They give away your position, and chasing game might burn out more energy than it gives back. So, in most bug-out situations, food procurement is backup, not the plan. Pack smart, eat smart, and preserve your energy for what matters most, staying alive. And one more thing to consider with food, how you prepare it. A hot meal can do wonders for morale and energy, but cooking comes with a price because fire gives off smoke, light, and scent, all of which can reveal your location. If security is a concern, be smart about how you cook. You might stick to cold meals or use a small, efficient stove like a propane or alcohol burner that gives off less smoke and light. If you do build a fire, keep it small. Dig a pit or surround it with rocks or natural cover to limit visibility. And remember, flames can attract more than just attention. They can attract danger. If you're traveling by vehicle and have more room, you might keep heavier foods like canned goods or MREs in your car stash. But be realistic. If you're forced to ditch your car, you can't take it all with you. That's why some preppers divide their food into multiple caches. Part in the main pack, part in the side pouch, maybe even some on your person. That way, if one bag gets lost or stolen, you don't lose everything. And here's something often overlooked. Boost morale with a little comfort, a bit of hard candy, or a small piece of chocolate. It might sound trivial, but when stress is high, that small treat can go a long way in lifting spirits. Just pace yourself. Don't eat it all in one day. So, to wrap up, water and food management is about planning and discipline. Carry what you reasonably can, know where to get more, and make sure you have the tools to make it safe. Drink water regularly. Don't wait until you're thirsty, because by then, you're already dehydrated. Watch your body for signs. Dark urine, headaches, fatigue, they all mean that you need more water. For food, eat just enough to maintain energy. Use every safe opportunity to refill your water bottles. And if you pass through an area with edible plants or even an abandoned store, and it's safe, carefully take the chance to restock. Because efficient, disciplined management of these basic resources, water and food, can dramatically increase your odds of surviving and staying strong during a bug out. That's it for this episode. Now you know how to plan smarter routes, prep realistic destinations, and condition both your body and your gear for the harsh realities of bugging out. Because when the time comes to move, hesitation, poor planning, or the wrong gear could cost you everything. But gear and planning are just the start. In the next video, we go deeper into stealth tactics, security measures, and mental conditioning that can mean the difference between survival and becoming someone else's target. We'll talk about how to stay invisible, avoid dangerous encounters, and keep a clear head, even when things get dark, chaotic, and unpredictable. So, if you found this valuable, hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell. You don't want to miss the final part of this series. Until then, stay alert, stay prepared, and remember, the best plan is the one that you can actually execute.